where we start the music and one of the guys just breaks into a rap and we're like, what?
Oh my god.
Is that what's happening right now? And he just looks at us all and is just like, and we're like, okay, let's do it. And like 5 white people just did this amazing rap. He even like found a way to do like a flip in the middle of it. Like he did like a cartwheel in a tiny space, in the tiniest space. He did like a cartwheel into a flip. He landed, the song ended, the crowd was like, we were like, that was the best show of our lives.
Nice.
And after that, it was just like, well, what are we going to do? It's over. So that was the end of it. We might as well should have been like, nice to meet you. It was really great. That was the best thing ever. You know what I mean?
Just jump into the Hudson. Give it up and done.
Let's be done. Who needs to do shows after that? Sorry, Amy Poehler. Everyone's going to say, you're really funny, but no. This was the pinnacle of. I believe the song was called "Baby Bones." It was ridiculous.
Love it.
About a gymnast who had baby bones. But
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a murder ballad.
That's what I think.
No, I know. Believe me. I know that's what you're thinking.
It's my style.
Yeah, you love a murder ballad.
Style.
That's how you do it.
I was in a improv murder ballad show.
Oh yeah.
About 2.5 years ago that Valerie directed. It's an hour and a half long narrative. That was musical, and in between scenes we would sing a new verse of the murder ballad that was leading to the murder. The whole story was described. It was pretty great.
Improvised?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Improvised. We had banjo players and harmonica player, like all. Oh, it was great. Just wicked old Americana music. So good.
So cool.
Yeah.
The intense sort of like big choices that you guys make sometimes. Like, I just love it so much when it's like they're going to accomplish that in a show, and then you watch it and you're like, that just happened.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my god, so good.
Yeah, it didn't get the audiences it deserved, but it was a dark show.
It is hard that way. Yeah, when I initially asked you about how you started theater, I was going to say when I started theater, it was all real dark dramas. Yeah. Like I did just serious plays about like torture and pain.
Right.
And I didn't do comedy for years.
Yeah.
And now my comedy has a bit of the dark, you know.
But that's I like that the best. Everything should have a little bit of everything in it. You know.
I just like and now at this point when I let like sketches like that go up, I really enjoy just staring at the audience to see what they're doing.
What's the line that makes them go, oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, which part of this makes them offended and which part of this makes them laugh. And I try so hard to like gauge how to figure out the perfect mix of that kind of thing so that the next time we come up with an idea, I'm like, okay, yes, we can do this. However, we need to make sure this part is in there to get the laughs because they get real scared.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm real surprised. I hope I never understand why people laugh at some of the stuff they do. Like, because there are a lot of times where people laugh at the weirdest things that was not meant to be the punch, and it's just that is when it happens to me. That's what's fun to me.
I think.
Yeah.
I think when that happens, at least with improv, I think a lot of times it's, and also true with sketch, it's, especially the times where you're like, what, that wasn't funny, it's them finding anything to relieve whatever tension has been built up. Whether it's tension from material of the show or tension from, improvisers being awkward and then having that audience moment of, oh no, and like, they're just looking for anything to just relieve a little bit of it. Yeah, I love when that happens though. It's like, I don't know what I have no idea what they're laughing at. It's like, at all.
I guess that's the thing now, yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I definitely had those moments. Sometimes I used to, and I'm glad I don't do this anymore, but I used to have like a notebook with all the scripts in front of me so that like I could follow along while I was doing tech.
Wow.
But now I realize that it's just easier for me to have run tech and sort of know visually what's going on, because I used to just have like a tech book.
Yeah.
But because of that, I would have it in front of me and I would circle the sections that they laugh at so that I could look back and think like,
try to figure out what was it.
What was the thing? Yeah, because I mean, and I'd love to hear your point of view from like being a teacher and what you've learned teaching people. But for me, that's a lot of what keeps my, like, excitement in teaching and in creating shows and in being part of them, is like analyzing those little things and like trying to figure out, like, because I always have the balance between, like, I'm doing this show and I know that the show that I put out is good.
Right.
If they laugh or they don't laugh, it's not the end of the world for me, but I am fascinated by the way their brain works, because sometimes I think, the Austin mind, or even the millennial mind, or even just the people that happen to walk through our doors' minds.
No, that's
what that is.
It's interesting because I think especially with scripted stuff, having just done this play, 9 shows, there were lines that got laughs some nights that other nights got nothing, which is really interesting. And I think a lot of it isn't even what's on the page; it's in the delivery, or it's in a movement, or a cock of an eyebrow, or it's like stuff that isn't even it's stuff that's in the performance sometimes, which is really interesting to see. Because I haven't done a ton of sketch, but I've done some sketch shows where there were sketches that killed to one audience, and then the next night they died, and they were performed very, very similarly. It wasn't like the next night we're like, oh, we were off. Like, it's like, no, we did the same show. What happened? I find that very fascinating too. I mean, as far as teaching, I don't even think I consider it when I'm teaching, or try to articulate it when I'm teaching, because when I'm teaching, I'm very much focused on, and I trust that funny things will happen, especially because I teach improv. Funny things will happen, so I try to ignore pointing out what's funny and telling people how to be funny. Just completely ignore it and try to get them to just be comfortable, just be natural, and not censor themselves, and not try so damn hard, because it's trying hard that makes it really difficult on early students, especially, right? So
you teach mostly early students?
It runs the gamut. I'll go through bursts of doing like level 1s, and then then I won't teach for a while because I don't have time. But then when we travel with PGraph, we'll do like weekend-long intensives where we do narrative for 12 hours, basically teach people how to do it. Not from no improv experience, but so it kind of runs the gamut. So yeah, I mean, I love teaching all of it, because seeing people who don't, or people who think they don't know how to improvise, go from absolute paralysis to just spewing nonsense is so lovely. And then seeing people who are like, I don't know how to, I want to do serious scene work, but I can't. I'm like, well, yeah, you can. Let's make you do it. And like getting people to do that is amazing too. Like getting them to like slow down and like emotionally connect. That's what I love about teaching is seeing people let it breathe. And part of it might just be my own personal performance style, but I love watching when improvisers and students get to the point where they're not talking just to fill time, and they're actually letting shit land and reacting and then responding without thinking. Like the last thing I want anyone to ever do is think. I don't ever. That's one of the things I say a lot is when I'm teaching is, if you're thinking about what you should have said next, or what you should say next, or whether you should have just edited, like all of that is true. You should have done that thing, and the moment's gone because you're spending your time thinking about it. So like I big thing is I want to decrease the time between impulse and execution, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I want it to all be just reflexive, and then trust that it'll work out and be okay, and that happens just by doing it more. You build up that trust in yourself. Because so often when I started out, you're thinking the whole time. I used to trick myself actually, because I was so bought into this idea of doing improv, and like reading Johnstone's book, it's so much about all the stuff your brain does to get in your own way. I felt myself doing it. Like my brain would try to protect myself. Whatever exercise we're doing, I was pre-planning. Like if it was a line exercise and there were 3 people in front of me, I was like, I'm going to go in 4. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. And I started realizing I was doing it. So until I was comfortable being an improviser, I basically was like, all right, brain, you're so smart. I'm going to let you hang on to that thing. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I got to the front of the line, I was like, now you can't say it. Now do something else. It was like I let the part of my brain that wanted the safety of having something prepared, like, hold on to that little thing, and then the growing improviser part of my brain went, nope, and threw it away and made me do it. Made me just say whatever. And that was like this, it was kind of me, I guess, recognizing the instincts I had that were counter to what I wanted to be doing.
Yeah.
So that's what I really like. I like voicing that when I'm teaching and like telling people like, yeah, this is shit. Your brain is trying to help you, but it's not needed. Your brain is trying to stop you from being killed because it thinks you're gonna die, but turns out you're just on stage and it doesn't actually matter. So we're gonna get that part of your brain to chill out and not worry so much.
Yeah. It's funny. I've spent I like, from your point of view of teaching improv, because, yeah, I mean, it is just sort of off the cuff. I love teaching. I teach mostly level 1. Yeah. And so I'm really good at that. Fun. I get I can share the magic with them. Right. I can give them the preview, right. And then I can keep them excited, and then they'll stick around. Yeah. But we at the New Movement recently developed a sketch curriculum where it's more than just one class. It's like a 4-level course. So because I was so immersed in that, and it's based off of the same improv things, but it's like just concepts, and then we use the same concepts, but it is solid and written and stuff like that. So that's where I became obsessed with the audience, and how that has to do with, and also how to communicate that to the students so that they can both use it and ignore it at the same time.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated in that, because I did, I don't have much experience with it, but I did stand up once, twice. I took a class at the institution that was stand up for improvisers, and I was like, I'm interested in this enough that I'm going to mess with it. And so while I was doing it, I was watching stand up that I liked and trying to figure out what it is I liked about it. Kind of doing this work of reverse engineering it, and then realizing that if you just take what they said, so many of my favorite stand-ups, if you take what they said on paper, it's not that funny. So what is it that's, where's the funny come? I know it's there, so I find it very fascinating, because like I was saying, so often the funny isn't even explicitly on the page. So for writers of comedy, I don't understand how film comedic writers can write something and then know it's going to be funny. There's so much of it is the physical delivery of the actor. I don't know how you write it open enough to trust nah, this will be funny on set. The director will make this funny. This is enough of a playground or a concept that funny things will happen. But there's a lot of physical humor in particular. It's not really in the script. I don't know how you write that with the confidence of going this will be funny, page 2. It's I find that very fascinating.
Well, I used to rely on, I reverse engineer a lot of things as well, and especially since I was kind of in the early levels of the New Movement, which meant that a lot of times Chris and Tammy would be open to me being I can teach people how to do that, and then I have to go, how do I teach people how to do that? And so I have to teach myself, and usually I do what you did, where it was you find something that you think is funny, and then try to figure out how you get there. And one of the things that the format of an improv scene, talking about the 3 beats, talking about game. And I was okay, if you have 3 beats and you have a game, how do you write that down, right? And so how do you create that? So I figured that one out. But sometimes, and I still use the format. When I do my first drafts, they're almost all just first beat, second beat, third beat. And then I just fluff it out. Right. But sometimes format doesn't do it. It doesn't quite get... the best comedy isn't always like that. Yeah. I told somebody, and I've said this before, the podcast audience has probably even heard this, but one of the most perfectly organized and well written like comedy scripts is Dude, Where's My Car?
I love that movie.
It is a 3 beats.
It's so stupid.
It's 3 beats. It goes from, like, it raises the stakes with each new adventure that goes along. It gets wilder and wilder. It is an